Hello and welcome to Freedom Watch, your daily dose of raw liberty, streaming online at foxnews.com. I'm your host, Judge Andrew Napolitano, here defending freedom, defending your natural rights, and defending your right to have a government that stays within the confines of the Constitution. As 2009 draws to a close, there is near universal concern that the economic instability facing the world today will get worse in 2010 before it gets better. At the heart of the financial meltdown is the Federal Reserve. Its chairman, Ben Bernanke, is up for a second four-year term. Under his leadership, our economy has tanked. The dollar is in near collapse. Gold is at an all-time high. And pressure continues to mount on the super-secretive institution to submit to a congressional audit, which would be the first in its history. The current instability has exposed the Fed in more ways than one. More and more Americans are finally realizing that what the Fed does is manipulate the economy, manipulate the dollar, manipulate us, manipulate banks, manipulate what is commonly referred to as fiat dollars. Here to discuss fiat currency, currency made out of thin air, to talk about the Fed, to talk about his notoriously accurate forecasts for the next year, is the world's #1 trend forecaster, Jerry Celente, director of the Trends Research Institute. Jerry, welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Oh, thanks for having me, Judge.
How bad are things now? I mean, the government is waiting for numbers on the end of the week. If the number comes out at north of 10% unemployment, especially if it's north of 10.2, where it was a month ago, what will we hear from the Obama administration?
Oh, they'll talk about a jobless recovery. And that's like being almost pregnant. There's no such thing. And this is what we're going to see, Judge, in 2010 is a breaking point. Everything that they've done to paper over this collapse that actually happened in March of 2009 is just papering it over, as you mentioned, with fiat money, printed out of thin air, backed by nothing, and producing practically nothing. And by the way, this is an international central bank scheme going on everywhere. From India to China, from Australia to the UK to the US, every central government's bank is dumping paper money into the economy to make it seem like there's a recovery. There is no recovery. It's a cover-up.
Could the American Federal Reserve and the central banks from other countries, Jerry, actually be in cahoots with each other? Lawyers would say a conspiracy to mask the economic problems and make them look less bad than they truly are?
Well, let's just look at the facts. Every central bank is dumping trillions of dollars globally, all combined, to pump up this economy that's failed. Buy, Dubai. We just saw it, and everyone's trying to downplay it. It's worse than people could imagine. Judge, we're going into the greatest depression. It's happening. It's before everyone's eyes. And they're hoping that somehow, miraculously, by printing money and the fiscal and monetary policies are going to bail us out of this. It's not going to happen. It isn't happening.
What should people do if they agree with you, as many of the people watching us and listening to us now do? Should they buy gold? Where should they go with their investments?
Well, we can't give investment advice. We're not allowed to. I'll tell you what I do. I've been buying gold, and you've been getting the Trends Journal. We've been forecasting the rise of gold since 2001, following 9/11, when they started to lower the interest rates. And we're looking at gold 2000. And I'm also, what I do personally is I have half my cash I'm 80% in gold. I have half my cash in euros and half in dollars. One goes up, the other goes down. I just want to stay even at this point on that element. This is no time to take risk. Because, Judge, we're also forecasting, again, current events form future trends.
Right.
Look what happened yesterday. President Obama, I want to make this really clear. We don't tell people what to believe, and nobody tells me what to believe. Our motto is think for yourself at the Trends Research Institute. President Obama's new strategy in Afghanistan, the so-called AFPAC strategy of expanding the war in Afghanistan and in Pakistan, is bringing terrorism as we see it to a breaking point. So we're forecasting Terror 2010. I'm mentioning this because if there's a terrorist strike, of 9/11 magnitude, you're going to see this economy collapse in ways that people can't imagine. It'll blow us away. We saw what happened following 9/11. This will be much worse because we're in a much weaker position.
Where is the government going to get the money to finance a war that costs $1 billion a soldier?
Well, this is perfect empire decline. You see it all the time. Just read history. Everybody knows the story. Fighting in foreign entanglements when you're depleting the treasury. But I want to mention, if terror strikes, and you ask me what should people do? When 9/11 happened, I tried getting my money out of CDs, and I couldn't because they closed Wall Street. If there's a terror strike this time, good odds that they'll call a bank holiday. You won't be able to get your money out. So people should take precautionary measures considering the escalation of this war and the blowback potential.
Wow. Well, if you have gold, how are you going to turn that into something you can use to buy food with?